On blast.
And we are live. This is the Wrap It Up on Blast post-game show. Raptors on Blast on post-game show in English. My name is Sheldon Alexander. I'm joined with my guy, Mike Bellamo. Bellamo, what's up, my dude? Spicy. Spicy. Well, before we get to the spiciness, this episode of Wrap It Up is brought to you by Clean Cuts Barbershop. 2013 Danforth Avenue in the East End of Toronto. Clean Cuts is the multicultural barbers that will always keep you fresh for any and all occasions. So go see Skip and the crew, and as a wise man once said, tell them that I sent you. Check them out on Instagram at Clean Cuts Toronto or give them a call, 416-917-4833 to book your appointment now. So, Toronto Raptors.
Yep.
It's kind of a weird feeling, isn't it? Raptors win 111-109. They win at the buzzer thanks to your man's Pascal Siakam, buzzer beater. So you should kind of feel good. Buzzer beater win. People are normally hyped. But on the flip side, it's the Suns. The 11 and now the now 11 and 35 Suns. So let me ask you this. Let's start here. What do you take from this win? What do you make of this victory by the Raptors?
Well, like I was saying to you, you typically go into these games thinking it's going to be a blowout.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, both ends of the spectrum. Raptors, Suns. But what I say, it's character building when you kind of go down to the crunch time with it, right? And win at buzzer beaters or make a good defensive play or what have you not. I mean, it wasn't. We still got the W. It wasn't what you would expect.
Yeah.
But I mean, I know we're going to talk about this, but what a great play call. By Nick Nurse.
Let's start there, right?
Yeah,
because
let's do that.
we were, while the timeout was going on, we were saying, okay, who's getting the last
Unexpected.
shot?
We did.
Is it Kyle?
I did not think that.
I said Fred.
Yeah. We both said ISO.
Yeah. And at the
Pascal.
same time, it's like, ISO, Pascal?
Yeah.
Like, that was a play call. And it's like,
Yeah.
okay. And then he just kind of let the clock wind down. It got to what?
A little
like,
too nerve-wracking. Yeah, I thought he was going to forget to shoot for a second.
well, the
but
clock
yeah.
got down to what? Like 3 seconds before he
Yeah.
went to the basket? Hey, got the lay-in at the buzzer.
And that shows, too, not mean to cut you off, but how quick Pascal is, because he had the ball behind the three-point
yeah.
with just under 3 seconds.
Yeah. Right around there.
And realistically, there was still about 0.2, 0.3 left when that basket went through the hoop. But,
Yeah.
I mean, that's some quickness. Went with the left hand. I don't know if he's a righty or a lefty, but
he's a righty.
He's
so
a righty.
the
Went with
lefty,
the opposite.
his left hand just went viral,
Yeah.
you know, so you got to give him credit for
I mean,
that.
it was a good call.
Nice lay-in, took
it
the
perfectly.
contact as well. It's good, right? I mean, we talked about it all the time because as we've been doing this podcast for each and every game this season, obviously there's games where it's like the Bulls or it's games against, your bottom basement teams that people kind of write off. But one thing we've always stressed throughout the year, even in these games, there's still something positive that you can take from these games. There's a learning experience. There's something that, can benefit you down the line.
Mm-hmm.
And in this instance, it's putting Siakam, someone who struggled in that game in Boston, right? And you're giving him a chance now, an opportunity to see, okay, prime time, here's a game on the line.
Yep.
What do you do? So it's something positive in that sense.
Exactly, yeah.
Now, I'm going to say something. Actually, first, let me say what's up to the people in the podcast.
What up,
My apologies. People, hello on Twitter, at Shell Alexander. Thank you guys for joining me after each and every Raps game. Shout out to you guys tuning in live on Twitter. Shout out to the people on Instagram. Instagram peeps, what's up? Shout out to the people that are listening to this the next day on SoundCloud, on Spot. No, we're not on Spotify. Not yet. SoundCloud, Google Play, iTunes, and of course the YouTube people. Shout out to all you guys. Really appreciate you guys listening and sending your comments. I know we're still, as a fan base, I feel like everyone's still kind of down over the loss to Boston.
Yeah.
But think about how much worse it would have been if they lost this game as well.
Oh, God.
Right? So here's the thing. Okay? Let's start here.
Yep.
Because I feel like the talk, once again, and it will continue to be this way until he does play on the second night of a back-to-back. Mm-hmm. But Kawhi Leonard out again doesn't play in this game. And earlier today, actually, it was Kyle and Kawhi weren't
Supposed
going
to
to
be
play.
Yep.
And then about 90 minutes before the game, Kyle went to Nick Nurse and said, you know what? I'm good to go. Let me play. And Nick Nurse actually said part of the reason for this was because Kyle was still upset about what happened last night. And so he wanted to come out and play.
It's a good team leader.
What do you make of that situation?
Well, I mean, it shows the character of Kyle. You know, I mean, he really doesn't miss games unless he's absolutely has to by an injury, right? But what I was interested to see too, and even when I called you and told you I was coming, was if Kyle did not play and Kawhi, it would have been the first game. This is the truth. It would have been the first game that both of them didn't play at the same time, and it's weird because Kyle was out for so long. You would have thought that there would have been a back-to-back that Kawhi missed while Kyle was hurt for that few weeks. No, there hasn't been a game, again, even with today, there hasn't been a game that they haven't played. But anyways, what I was going to get to was it would have been one of the first games we would have got to see if Kawhi does leave and if things kind of get blown up. We would have seen, OG never played, but we would have kind of seen Pascal and what they could do without their leaders, right? And which is kind of fitting because maybe Nurse was thinking the same thing. Maybe, you know, he still went with the play at the end with Siakam kind of leading the charge with the last play, right?
Yeah, for sure. It was almost a glimpse into the future type thing, right?
Yeah.
So you kind of got a glimpse to see, hey, this is kind of what this lineup could look like next year if there's no Pascal or if there's no Kawhi, no Serge.
Masai trades.
Yeah, you never know.
The expiring contract of Serge and
for sure.
Kyle, and
which
so could happen.
You get some extended run for guys like DeLon, guys like Fred who struggled.
CJ as well.
CJ Miles.
We'll talk about that.
The GoDaddy curse, right? Yeah. First off, shouts to Danny Green.
Danny Green, guys, yeah.
I don't know if you guys have seen it, but definitely look it up on Instagram. Danny Green, it's on the Raptors Instagram page for sure. Danny Green showed up to the game wearing CJ's PJs, right? Yeah. Which was pretty funny.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's not CJ's PJs. It's the GoDaddy commercial.
It's a GoDaddy curse.
So, I mean, unless he wore CJ's PJs, he had Valanciunas' little figurines.
While Norman Powell's song was playing in the background. What
Powell's
was it? Live life with no problems. Was that the song?
Yeah. But the thing was too, Josh.
Why do I know that?
Your boy Josh Lewinberg reported that while wearing CJ's PJs, he went 3 for 3 in pregame warm up. I guess hitting 3 for 3 shots, proving to CJ that. But this is what we talked about, and it's a funny story, but. Clearly, it's in CJ's head, and clearly they're talking about it outside of.
You mean up wearing
Danny?
those?
Yeah, right. In the locker room, they're talking about it. So, I mean, it was good to see CJ come out. I think it was 3 of 5 of 3. He had about 13 points, 5 of 7 shooting. Yeah.
I mean, he hit 3 threes in the game, and they were like threes that were all in rhythm too. Yeah. Like it looked good.
It was
CJ's. It's probably his best game, and the thing too. The Raptors needed it, right? Exactly. Like you won by 2 points, meaning you needed those 13 from CJ off the bench.
Whether it's to get him a couple minutes in the future or to boost his trade value, because CJ does have a player option, and I bet you right now he's probably knocking on Masai's door and saying, like, just a heads up, but I'm signing that player option.
Yeah.
Right? So you got to figure some stuff out. But, anyways, it was good to see him.
It was interesting, too, right? Because we mentioned how much the bench struggled last night. The entire bench last night in Boston scored 22 points. At halftime, DeLon, Greg Monroe, and CJ Miles combined for 22 first-half points. So that's just showing you the difference. And, again, we know it's the Suns. Yeah. But you need to use those opportunities to work out kinks, and hopefully that translates into the big boy games, right? So you play who's in front of you, and the Kyle Lowry thing is interesting because I look at the big picture, and I understand that Kyle Lowry is a pit bull. He's a leader of your team. He's probably really only playing to, like, hype up the young bucks, right? Like, don't worry, guys. I got you guys. I'm out here with you guys, you know? But I'm going to say this. We know with him getting all these injections in his back, or, I shouldn't say all these injections because it happened once. But when you're getting these injections in your back and you know the way that Kyle Lowry plays, we know that he's going to be kind of playing hurt for the whole year.
Yeah.
wouldn't you rather save some of those bumps and bruises for down the line instead of on January 17th against the Suns on a second night of a back-to-back? You know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
in that instance, I almost wish that the team would save Kyle Lowry from himself.
As they do to Kawhi. Like
For
that's
sure.
what I was talking to you again about. This is when is Kawhi going to play these second games of a back-to-back?
So-
are they using the All-Star break
Maybe.
for the right? I mean,
It's funny because for the past, 2 or 3 back-to-backs, it sounded as if the plan was to have him play
Right,
on the second
yeah.
half, but the first half, he's had to go ham.
Yeah.
So they've been like, okay, we'll take
Mm-hmm.
it easy because he went hard the night before.
yeah. I mean, it would be funny to see if if the games were reversed and it was Phoenix then Boston,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
Because
For sure.
is he going to sit out the first of a back-to-back? I mean, no.
Yeah.
So if he played Phoenix and it wasn't an emotional game, and let's say they beat him by 25,
Yeah.
will he play the Boston game? I'm pretty sure he would.
For sure. I totally agree with that. The other thing I found interesting is I don't know if people have had a chance to check out Danny Green's podcast, Inside the Green Room.
I've
The
watched
one
a
that
few.
he did with Nick Nurse was pretty interesting because they asked him, like, who makes the decisions based
On
on
who plays.
Kawhi's playing?
Yep.
Like, so Kyle, obviously, if we're being told Kyle went to Nurse and said, I'm okay, I'm
Yep.
playing. Obviously, he has to be, quote unquote, cleared medically, but that's still Kyle
Yeah.
Lowry himself being
Yep.
like, I'm playing. Nurse said in terms of with Kawhi, he's like, well, I have no say. That's all above me. So it's essentially the front office
Mm-hmm.
in conjunction with, what's his name? Alex McCluskey. Is that his name? McCluskey?
Okay.
I could be pronouncing that wrong, but we know homeboy. We see him all the time, right?
Yes.
But essentially, it's like a group decision
But
amongst
does Kawhi
them.
concur? He's like, yes, I'm fine with sitting out. Like,
Yeah,
I'm sure. at the
he
beginning
has some
was.
say. He has some say for sure. But I feel like the Raptors, part of their whole thing is,
They're
hey, we're gonna
catering
easy
to
win.
him, yeah.
You brought up an interesting point though, because you said one of your buddies was
Yes.
at the game tonight. I want to kind of talk about this a little.
Yeah.
and just
And it's
bring up the
it's-
conversation to the fans.
Yeah, well, I noticed on Instagram I have a buddy that I've known for a while. I guess it was his son's birthday, and he showed a few pics of him and his son and the family going out for a birthday Raptors game. And I have a son
Which
that's
costs
12.
a lot of money.
Yeah, I have a son that's 12, and big sports fan, likes that too. Stuff like that, you bring the family out, costs a lot of money. And I mean, not only you're playing Phoenix, but like, yeah, I'm pretty positive. I'm not sure if it's his first game, but yeah, he'd want to see Kawhi, and he's not.
Yeah.
And it's like for an entertainment value, like when does it become enough's enough?
Yeah.
In a sense, right? Yeah, and it's just
I know what you mean. It's an interesting balance, right?
Yeah.
Because on the one hand, you have a paying fan base that's coming
Yeah.
out to see Kawhi Leonard play, and at this point, we know that he's healthy, right?
yeah. Well, of
Like I
course.
feel like we know
he's
that he's
above
healthy.
Yeah,
Yeah, like
He's
we've
balling.
seen enough games at this
Yes.
point. We know that he's
He's in
healthy.
the MVP race. He's healthy.
So they're being extra cautious at this point.
Yeah.
So it is kind of interesting. I feel like he probably could have played tonight.
Yep.
It's just extra cautious, and it's the Suns.
What is
But-
the thing with why can't? Is it the averages?
I think it's just
Is it
tough. I think it's tough to say
To play
we're going to
15?
play him and we're going to like ease his minutes. It's
because
too tempting.
because
think
we've
it's-
said this before, where NHL, MLB, and all them they play by points. Where the NBA is the one that plays by averages. So if Kawhi plays 15 minutes, he's not going to score as much as he would playing 35.
I see what you're
He'll
saying.
get
Yeah,
maybe
yeah, I see what you're
13
saying.
points, and that will lower his average
I see
points
what you're
per
saying.
game.
I see what you're saying.
Right? So is that why you don't
No.
see a lot of
What I think it
NBA
is-
players playing?
Less minutes.
Less
What I
minutes.
honestly think it is, I think that as a coach, you would just be too tempted to play him his normal minutes based on what's going on in the game.
Yeah.
Right? Like you don't want to put him on a minutes limit because especially in a game like this where it was so close, you'd be tempted to be like, "Oh no, we're struggling. Let's put Kawhi back in."
I get that, but I have a hunch that on the player's view of things too, that average, when you're in the conversation for season-ending awards, I bet you that they say, you're playing me, I'm playing my 30, 35 minutes.
Yeah.
Because I'm not playing 14 minutes unless I get, you know what I mean? And I'm only
Interesting, yeah.
scoring 12 points, and my 27.8 point per game average now goes down to 25.4, right?
It's interesting. You bring up an interesting point for sure. I wonder, and again, the thing that I find so interesting about this whole Kawhi thing is that nobody even knows what his. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like we can say, no, he really wants to play, or he really, like, we don't know Kawhi. Nobody knows Kawhi.
I'm waiting for the All-Star break, and then I'm seeing the first back-to-back of after the All-Star break, if he plays or not.
So here's the thing, too. They mentioned this during the game, and I think I wrote it down correctly. But one of the things that the Raptors pretty much have the easiest schedule of anyone in the NBA. Really? From here on out. So
from 19, yeah, they've done their Western.
Yeah, they've done all their hard, but even just teams against that are above 500, they've done a bunch of that too. So I think it was 19 of their 36 remaining games are against teams that are at 500 or below, right? And so after winning tonight's game, they improved to 17-2 against teams with those records. So here's the thing, right? Like, you need to rest. At this point, I was in the mindset that you need to rest Kyle more than you need to rest Kawhi.
Yeah, even Van Fleet's banged up.
Yeah. So it's an interesting thing, right? And I want to get to some comments here because comments are flying in, and I want to know what people think. Like, are you happy with the win? Was it cool to see Siakam get the buzzer beater? Or, are you mad that it became that close? In a game against the Phoenix Suns.
You got to show this to the Instagram.
Yeah, Instagram people.
This is a spicy pea.
The spicy pea sauce.
Spicy pea shot.
Let's see here. Some comments here. Let's start on Instagram. If Pascal doesn't score, would have been pissed at Lowry again with that fadeaway jump shot.
I agree. Serge was just cutting right to the basket.
Here's the thing. That Lowry shot, it's a bad fadeaway shot. But 2 years ago, that's a Kyle Lowry, like, icing. Like, that's a clincher that he was hitting 2 years ago, right? Like, so it's showing the decline in his game, but I'd rather have Kyle Lowry shooting and attempting that shot than him being passive.
Constantly dishing it off,
I talked about this on the podcast after the Boston game, and it was playing off of something that you said or were asking from early on in the season. Who is the Raptors' second best player, second best scorer?
Who is Kyle?
Who is that person? And my take on that is it has to be Kyle, right? Because
right now,
Siakam's too young, Serge isn't as efficient, and if it is Serge, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
If you ask me, right? So you need Kyle to be taking those shots. He's not making them, but then it comes down to, is he healthy? Is he Hundo P? All those little things. So yes, it's bad that he missed it, but I'm okay with him at least taking it because I want Kyle to still be aggressive.
It actually worked out perfect because I think that's a big booster with Siakam.
Yeah, it's a good confidence builder for sure. More comments from Instagram. Good to see CJ and DeLon show up today.
Yes,
totally.
CJ.
Mentioned that, right? And after a poor performance from the bench, I think DeLon had what we famously call the Sam Mitchell special. In Boston, the 0-0-0-0 stat line that he had last night in Boston. So good to see a little bounce back there. What did DeLon have tonight? DeLon had 10 points, 4 or 5 shooting, 5 assists. Solid night for DeLon, right? And you're seeing everyone that played scored except for Patrick McCaw, right? He only played 6 minutes, but still good to see everyone get in the game. And again, that's a benefit of when you play teams like the Suns. You can do that, right? Even Boucher got in, got some nice minutes, right?
Yeah, you got pushed.
Got pushed
Kyle
down.
rushing to his side.
Oh, yeah. That was Kyle being leader Kyle there, right? Let's see. Someone says, GoDaddy curse is broken? Question mark?
Let's hope so.
Let's see. Spicy P buzzer beater winner. Kawhi smiling, confirmed he's staying. Hey, anytime we see Kawhi smiling, we'll take that as a positive, right?
Is that Burberry? No, it's New Balance.
Right, I saw that. Like, what is going on, funny. Man? Him and Kyle. That's good, right? We want to see some camaraderie between those guys. More comments from Instagram. Pascal doesn't get most improved. I'm calling corruption on Adam Silver.
Yeah, Pascal will get most improved.
Let's see.
I think so too.
More comments. If CJ can be himself, the bench gets some consistency, and JV can stay healthy. This is a very good team. I agree with you, but that's a lot of ifs.
Well, we were talking about this before. I still don't think this is going to be the team we see going to the playoffs. I'm pretty sure Masai's going to tinker with it. There's a lot of veterans. I believe I'm so excited for the trade deadline. I know we're talking
about that last
night,
on
about it, but I mean, there's a lot of veterans and good veteran players popping up, whether it's Marcus Gasol, I mean, Tristan Thompson, your Brampton mans.
Yeah.
Great rebounder, hustler guy. He's only got 1 year left. You know, I was on quote one of the other podcasts, and I told you this, saying that I wouldn't do the Bradley Beal trade because I'd rather go a little bit lesser to keep Siakam. And now, but I've been thinking about it, and especially after that Washington game too, the Bradley Beal is still signed for 2 more seasons after this, and you get his bird rights. So even if Kawhi were to leave, you do a small, you do a sign and trade, maybe get something small back, if anything, for him. Bradley Beal is someone you can still build around for as a 25, 26-year-old.
Still an all-star.
Yeah, right? I mean, Siakam's great. Is he going to be a Bradley Beal leader, build-around type player? I hope so, but I don't think so. So, I mean, I know we're hitting the bird with the, hitting dead bird with a stick here, talking about it. But there was reports that it was asking about Bradley Beal, and the asking price was OG Siakam and 2 first.
Well,
I don't know.
Here's the thing, right? And here's the reason why this keeps coming up. Here's a comment from Instagram, and this is the reason why this stuff keeps coming up, right? Lowry is still not what we need him to be. In the playoffs, we need him to create his own shot, and all of a sudden he can't shoot. Yep. Right? Like, he's not scoring at the same clip that he was earlier on in the season.
And getting a real legitimate second scorer, whether it's Beal or someone of that ilk, like, then we were talking about this. Kyle can kind of go back to what he's doing and just dishing, taking those charges, and setting up Serge for that shot off the elbow, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
As being kind of scrutinized for maybe only scoring 11 points.
Yeah, you're not so dependent on him to score 15 plus. It's been a while, obviously, since Kyle played on the second night of a back-to-back, but we forget now. Heading into this game, Kyle on the second night of back-to-backs was averaging 19 and a season.
I did not know that.
Right? So, like, to further your point, right? Like, we were seeing it early, and now he's getting banged up a little.
The first 10 games, I remember listening to the On Blast, and you and your boy Webby, you were saying Kyle
is the most important person on the Raptors.
Yes.
Yeah. Like, I was saying, a healthy Kyle Lowry puts them in the finals.
That's how balling he was at the beginning. Yeah, we were like, wow.
Yeah.
Salty Kyle no more, right?
Right.
But, I mean, the season drags on, and injuries kick in, and right?
Things happen. Yeah. Things happen. Someone here on Instagram says, Kawhi is being babied too much, though.
Not really. It's not back to back. I mean,
again,
listen.
Do you have that same energy? Will people have that same energy when it's a playoffs and he's dropping 40 a night?
And there's no back to backs in the playoff games. In fact, NBA is one I can't stand it because there's like 3-4 days in between sometimes.
Yeah,
right?
for sure. Which helps. Which will help us with Kyle.
Definitely.
Let's see. Why even play Kawhi in a back to back at this point? Rather be safe than sorry.
Did you want that first overall seed?
I mean, yeah, you don't really
Milwaukee and Boston's going to be right with us the whole way. I don't want to go into Boston game 1 in game 7.
Yeah.
Right?
Here's a comment here from Instagram. It says, don't let this distract you from the fact that we needed a buzzer beater to beat the Suns.
That's true.
I'm going to give them a pass. You know why? Because it's the second night of a back-to-back, and you had an emotional loss in Boston, and there's just a lot going on. Do you wish that you blew out the Suns? Of course you do. Are the Suns a good team? Of course they're not.
Yeah.
But hey, sometimes you just got to gut things out. I like that Kawhi was actually on the bench. That was the first time I remember seeing Kawhi not playing, but him on the bench. We saw him clapping and laughing. I'll take all those positive signs. You mentioned Siakam getting a play drawn up for him. We'll take that as well. Nothing wrong with that, right? Do you want them to go down to the wire like this? No. But hey, the Suns gave them a good go. The Raptors took the punch, and they ended up winning the game. Again, Raptors win at the buzzer thanks to Pascal Siakam scoring on an ISO lefty, 111-109. Raptors win. Serge Ibaka with 22 points to lead the Raptors in this game. Kyle Lowry with 16 points. And Pascal, 10 points, 12 rebounds, 5 assists. I mean, it was ugly, but at the end of the day, what do we talk about all the time? It's more about the process and the actual wins and losses. What can you take from these things? And, hey, throwing it to Pascal, having him win the game, I'll take that, right? What were some of the other things you wanted to bring up We talked about Bradley Beal, right?
Yeah.
You want to talk about that. We talked about Kawhi and Kyle resting.
Yeah.
We talked about that. Is Pascal... You mentioned to me that you think I've been kind of hard on Pascal as of late.
No, you were right. You said the scouting reports out on him.
Yeah,
I think hasn't been as effective.
Yeah.
Listen, the one thing you're not going to take from Siakam or any scouting report is going to take away from is his quickness and his hustle.
Yeah.
And that's what he is.
And when he brings that every night, right? Like,
yeah.
That's where he gets his bread buttered, right?
Yeah.
From hustle plays, from getting rebounds, from defensive turnovers. Norm Powell mentioned this. Did he do the interview at the end of the game or at halftime? I don't remember which one it was, but or maybe they just said the quote on the air. They're talking about how when the bench is struggling, it's not even about the offense. It's about the defensive end, right? Because they want to come in and create turnovers, create pressure, change the pace that way.
Yeah.
And that's the same with Siakam. And I think we got to go back to one of the things that worked well early in the season, or for a little stretch there, was taking Siakam out early so that he comes back in and plays with the bench. Right?
Yeah.
And I think that unit with Siakam could do some damage going forward. And obviously it's been tough because there's been so many different injuries. It's tough to shuffle around and play guys how you'd want them. How do you want it to work? But end of the day, positives to take from this game. I want to know, too, from what Raptor fans think. Trade deadline is February 7th. Raptors fans okay with this team? I think I phrased it. Do you believe in the Raptors' depth, or do they need more people?
After Boston's game... After the game of Boston last night, I definitely think we need to make a move. We need another shooter.
Yeah. Yeah.
Kyrie cooks against us. We're going to face Boston in the first round unless they get bounced by like a Detroit or...
One thing I didn't give enough credit to last night when talking about the game is the shots that Kyrie Irving was hitting. We're just
that
stupid.
one over Siakam, and Siakam just shook his head too.
It was just dumb, right?
Yeah.
And like the three he hit to ice it over Kawhi, like Kawhi knows that he could pull up, but he was so far back, and he just stepped into that three and splashed it, and Kawhi still contested it.
Yep.
It's just so crazy, and at a certain point, you just got to tip your cap to the offensive player and say, "Hey, your best player beat our best player."
Yep.
We'll see you later on in the year.
And everybody was saying, and I mentioned, everyone was like, oh, Kyrie's gone, Boston's getting rid of him. Guys, he's younger than Kawhi.
Yeah.
He's 27, right? I mean, like, he's got the best handles in the league.
Yeah.
When he wants to go off for 40, he will. Right? He can dish it. What they got to do is, they're combustible. They could blow up at any time, and that's what the Raptors fans are hoping for. But they got to... And they seem to be on the track of getting Gordon Hayward slowly back to the Gordon Hayward. I don't think he'll ever be the same after that injury, but he's coming off the bench and was, like you said, it was smart what they did. Started Marcus Smart. But they got Kawhi. They got Rozier, Jaylen Brown, Tatum. They got the pieces, man.
They got dudes.
And when you're in Boston playing against them with that crowd, it's a tough task.
Very tough task, and you need to know, again, who is the second scorer that you're relying on. Exactly. Because it was Kawhi and not much else. And you heard the quotes from Kawhi after the game last night. Kawhi said, sometimes the offense just turns to him, and everyone's just standing and watching him. That's not going to be successful in the playoffs as the rounds get deeper. Defenses get a lot more focused in. You're going to have to do a little something else. And someone here on Instagram says, face it, Serge is the second best scorer on this team.
He is.
That's
you can't
not
have
gonna,
that.
that's not a good look. Right? Like, no. I'm not saying that that's wrong.
Because when JV comes back, it's going to go back to the 20, 22 minutes. 15 to 18 for JV. You know what I mean? A couple for Monroe. And what, your second best scorer is going to be playing 22 minutes? You can't do that. Listen, we've all known now, every year your body changes and you decline, especially in the sport.
Yeah.
Kyle is what Kyle is now. He's going to come up and drain that nasty three in your eye once in a while. But Kyle now has changed his game to being a distributor, That's it. He'll take the open shot. He'll set a pick. He'll definitely set a screen. He'll take a charge. But he's not the scorer that he was.
I don't know if he can give you that 30-point
So,
game.
what are we going to do? Like the commenter said, are we going to have Serge in the playoffs lead us with Kawhi? Like, Masai has to do something. He has to. This is the year. I'm okay with giving up OG. Unfortunately, we're going to have to. It's the question is how much of a big move does he want to make? And that's going to have to maybe be Siakam, right?
I can't wait to just see. I can't wait
I'm
to see
excited. I mean, I hope we can get something fantastic back and keep Siakam because I'm telling you, then the ticket to the finals will probably be written.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah.
we're going to have to see what he does.
The thing to me is I mentioned Kawhi, right? And I don't want to waste this.
Yeah.
If it is one season of Kawhi, I don't want to waste it, right? It's like you already made the move to be all in.
Yep.
Let's go.
Yep.
Right? Keep it going. That's what I'm thinking anyways. Someone says, looks like some teams are interested in Harrison Barnes, which was a name that you brought up.
So they are. So it's Dennis Smith Jr. too. They're trying to get because Luka's the man. So they don't have any room for Dennis Smith. I think Barnes would be great.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't have to give up Siakam for him.
The other thing too is I just think, and someone pointed out in the chat, which leads to the next point I wanted to make too about the bench. They brought up the fact that just, the bench is very inconsistent. And when you include Kyle Lowry as well, is it time that they kind of change their, like we've always thought as the bench mob, they're playing as a full unit. Is it time to change that up and say, hey, we're going to have at least two of the starters, meaning two of Kyle, Pascal, and Kawhi on the court at all times?
I'm thinking I would like to see Danny Green play more with the bench.
Yeah.
Obviously, he brings that leadership. You know what I mean? I'm not necessarily saying that he's not going to get hefty minutes, but I would, and that's, again, if we get another decent wing scorer, you would probably be moving Danny back a bit to the right.
Yeah.
And that's fine by me. So
people are not fine with trading Siakam. Got a comment here. Siakam ain't going nowhere. Another commenter says, "Don't even mention trading Siakam," which is so funny because it's just like, man. No.
And I was here. You can bring the tape back.
Yeah,
I said no to Bradley Beal for Siakam. But this is also what I'm talking about is Bradley Beal. You get his bird rights and you get him for 2 more years after this, right?
Yeah.
And he, to me, is more of someone that could help you win this year. And if Kawhi were to walk, you could build around him more than Siakam for the next 2 years. I love Siakam. I hope we can get Bradley Beal and keep Siakam and have Kyle and have Kawhi.
Yeah.
Right? But, I mean, you got to give to get.
Yeah, it's true. But, and the thing is,
and someone says Siakam could be as high as it will ever be right now.
Someone says Siakam can only go if we get AD. Anthony Davis.
Great.
I mean, now we're talking craziness, right? Now we're talking craziness. But I mean, it's fun to think about in the sense that I remember when the Kawhi rumors came up, and the Kawhi rumors, it was like, oh, well, the Raptors don't want to give up OG or Pascal in those deals. And I remember my thought process was, I'm sorry, but those two guys aren't stopping me from getting Kawhi Leonard.
And we got him without that, yeah.
And Bradley Beal isn't Kawhi Leonard. No. But the point that I'll always make is...
But when you put him with Kawhi Leonard...
My thing is just, a guy who's not an all-star is not going to stop me from getting
an all-star. You said that
right?
several times.
You're hoping that OG turns into Bradley Beal.
I'll give OG up. I know his defensive game is going to be elite in a few years. Siakam is the piece that grit, that hustle. You know what I mean? He has a knack to get into the rim quick. Like that, you don't want to give that up, but that's unfortunately the piece that other GMs are going to ask for immediately.
Yeah, I mean, would you give up Siakam in a Bradley Beal deal? I'd think about it super hard. I think it depends. Do you know what I would really do if I'm Masai? I would see what Kawhi thinks.
Yes.
See if you can get any... do you like Bradley Beal?
Yeah.
Do you have any thoughts on Bradley Beal? I'm not even
Could
asking
you
you
play
if
with him. Do you know him, or have you? You know what I mean?
Not necessarily. Are you going to stay? Because he's not going to give you.
You're not going to do.
But you're going to ask
him what does he think,
and
even if he's mum on the question, you'll see just by his action the way he, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You'll see if it's a yes or no. And I bet you if he goes to maybe pull the trigger on that trade, I think he would. I think he'd ask Kyle as well. I think GMs do that because the chemistry in the room is something that's important.
More comments here. People are saying Siakam is our best defensive player apart from Kawhi. We need Siakam. Someone says, Sheldon, you low-key hate on OG, don't you? I don't hate on OG, and I also think that we got to give OG a bit of a pass.
On OG too.
No, but I just think we give him a bit of a shots. He just hasn't had a good season, and it's okay. And I just don't think that he's untouchable, right? Yeah. Like, you can't be having all these people be untouchable when, like, you're not an all-star.
Listen, he doesn't go to the
He's like your
I thought with the tutelage
the
of Kawhi, his game would evolve into be one of the best defensive players, kind of like
OG's.
But yeah, he hasn't seemed to really done anything to like prove me otherwise. I mean, he doesn't go to the net.
Yeah.
He takes way too many shots.
He's very inconsistent.
I mean, the only defensive plays I remember is the foul on Bogdanovich. I mean, I'm not shitting on him, guys. You know what I mean? I know
he's
great.
Had a rough season. He's had some stuff go on off the court for sure. It's a tough year for him.
If you can get a lot for him, like other GMs are asking, then I'm more than willing to give OG for, like you said, an all-star.
I'm just saying, you're talking about getting someone who would play crunch time minutes for you for like your fourth person off the bench.
We're talking about winning now, guys. This year. This is the year.
Yeah.
Right?
Like OG is the fourth person off the bench. Yeah. Norm passed him in the rotation, right?
Yep.
Like Fred passed him in the rotation.
DeLon.
Whoever the center is between JV or Serge is coming off the bench before OG. OG is the fourth guy coming off the bench.
You're basically hoping for, in the next 2 years, what he's going to be.
Yeah.
You could draft somebody else or make a little trade and get, I don't know.
It's interesting. The Siakam thing is a more interesting part for
Siakam's
sure.
Siakam's a way different
but
story.
I think it all depends on what you're getting
What
back.
you're getting.
And, you know, it's
would I do Harrison Barnes for Siakam? No. Would I do Bradley Beal for Siakam today, now? Yes.
Yeah, I mean, hey, I see nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
I don't know what I would do, but it's super interesting for sure, and it would definitely warrant the conversation. My question for you, and I asked this to people last night, would you give up Kyle Lowry?
This year, right now?
This year. Would you trade Kyle Lowry?
Well,
let's
are
say
we getting
it was a
back
salary
another
dump.
Point?
Let's say it was a salary dump, so...
I mean, yes.
You're trading Kyle Lowry so that you get, let's say he's part of the Bradley Beal deal, but it's like he's there to match the contracts with OG and whoever else.
I do, because I mean, I have faith in Van Fleet. I mean, he's a little banged up right now, but what I think would it be easy, they could get like another point guard, a veteran buyout, like you know what I mean, in the sense the back. I mean, you'd be cut in your depth at point guard, but. Yeah, I would make them. If that also helps us save and keep Siakam here, then I'd rather give up Kyle. I mean, Kyle's 31, 32. He's injured. But I don't think I don't know. Would a GM really be? Because if you're doing that move, you're not doing that move to a basement dweller team, right? You're making a trade, I guess, to a contender if they're wanting Kyle.
For sure. No.
But yeah, I would. It depends on what you're getting back. But yeah, I wouldn't not trade him. I'd trade him if it was the right deal.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting, and I love hearing. Would I trade Kyle Lowry? Yeah. I think you have to consider it for sure. Just because if you're getting something back that can help you, you definitely do it.
And then what? Fred's your
you roll with Fred and DeLon. I was already on that wave in the sense that if I had any sniff that Kyle Lowry was sulking or messing around this season,
is his stock low right now though?
Exactly. I think that's a problem. I think that's definitely the problem. His stock is super low. You kind of got to ride it out and. Like, the reality is you got to ride it out. I was throwing that out as a hypothetical.
Yeah,
we're talking about the
I love
deadline
those questions.
And stuff. I mean, I will say, though, obviously the depth of where we're asking this, the feedback we're getting is within this conversation right now. So
I've seen a lot of people are saying, don't trade
Siakam. Yeah, Siakam. People are all over Siakam. They love Siakam. I get it. I understand.
Siakam, too.
I understand, but hey. You're talking about championships.
I know, but you're talking about Beal. Beal's probably the only one.
My thing, too, is just like, I don't want to waste the 1 year of Kawhi.
Yeah.
You don't want to look
back. What is Siakam going to do in 2022? I mean, do we have hope?
Know.
Yeah, exactly.
We don't know.
You know if you get Beal, there's a pretty even higher chance.
But the other thing is
you're going to the finals.
The bigger issue is, let's say in 2022, you don't know what the rest of your team is like.
Exactly.
So even if Siakam is pretty good, right? Let's say he develops into maybe an all-star or borderline all-star. What's the rest of the team
exactly
like, right? Like this right now, you're playing with the best player you've ever had in franchise history, right? In Kawhi Leonard at the peak of his powers. And so that's why you're trying to go for it this year.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's the other part of this whole thing. There's only so many chances to where the stars will align where, you know, you got Kawhi Leonard, he's healthy, he's playing at the level he's at, there's no LeBron anymore, and there's a path where you can make it to the finals.
Yeah.
If the chance is there, if the opportunity is there, we heard already Masai tried to offer up DeRozan last year for Paul George.
Yeah. Oh, and Wiggins too. I was hearing that.
So
before,
we know Masai's been ready to deal for a while.
He's got his hands on the king of the chessboard,
he's,
guys.
He's been ready to move for a while.
He's all in.
I just can't wait. The trade deadline's going to be amazing. But people send us what you think.
Yep.
And people that are getting mad about rumor talk, like this is what the internet is for, right? Man. Like we're talking about potential trades and deals. Are we putting everything through the trade machine? No.
Guys, I've learned to trust Masai. He's not going to do anything that's going to hurt us. I think he's going to do something that's going to be smart. Now, it's going to be front-sided, heavy loaded in this year, but that's good. Mm-hmm. We got possibly the best team in the league. Second best team in the league besides Golden State.
Also, too, you know what? I wonder how that are trade Siakam. We can't trade Siakam. I wonder how many of those people were like, oh no, we're giving up to Kawhi gonna even play? Does Kawhi even want to come here? Right? And how many people were worried about that? And it's like
pretty quickly.
It's not even close.
Yeah.
Right? It's not even close. But anyways, great conversation.
Yes.
Again, thank you everybody for joining us on Twitter at Shell Alexander, which you can find the podcast live after each and every Toronto Raptors game. Shout out to you guys. Obviously, shout out to the Instagram crew, always sending your comments and questions, helping the conversation go along, because that's what this is about. This is about having that conversation in that platform for Raptors fans, which then translates into the podcast as well. Shout out to the podcast people. Just search On Blast Podcasts wherever you get your podcasts, iTunes, SoundCloud, Google Play. Of course, salute to the YouTube people. I know this conversation will continue there because the comments are always crazy there, always going. Like you're telling me you see the comments.
Oh, I read the comments.
Yeah, you're there. You're in the comments.
Yeah.
We enjoy it a lot.
Yeah.
So definitely appreciate you guys. Thank you for joining us on back-to-back nights for the Wrap It Up podcast. Tough loss in Boston. Tough win, I guess, at the buzzer against the Suns.
A quiet crowd tonight, too.
Yeah, hold on.
I disrupted your
13 seconds left. No. We got to bring this up. 13 seconds left. Raptors up 2. The other team goes to the foul line to shoot the game-tying free throws, and the crowd is quiet.
Yeah.
What?
Weird.
Like, that doesn't make any sense.
Weird.
It's like, people, go back and pay attention to the Boston crowd and how live that Boston crowd was.
Raptors fans are great, but
Wednesday night.
It was weird, You mentioned it. You called it out.
Super weird. But hey, we try to hype up the fan base that we can hype up
it here, folks.
on the Wrap It Up podcast. So thanks again for joining me. As always, my name is Sheldon Alexander. Mikey, can people find you? They want to comment, hit you up?
Yep, YouTube comments or Instagram, MikeBello_6. Hit me up, guys.
Yeah, and you can find me on Instagram at Sheldon Alexander, Twitter, as mentioned before, at Shell Alexander. And I used to pray for times like this to rhyme like this. This is Wrap It Up on Blast Rap's post-game show. As always, unpolished and unapologetic. Until next time, which I think is Saturday against the Grizzlies, that is. Marcasol. We'll be there to talk about the Raps again. Big win for the Raps at the buzzer. Spicy P. We got the hot sauce.
Spicy P, guys.